Welcome to Principling in Place, an evening to connect, learn, and laugh. Our topic tonight is parental participation and engagement. Joining us is Dr. Gracie Branch, NAESP's Associate Executive Director of Professional Learning.
Good evening, everyone. This week on a webinar that I attended, they used the word ambassadors of hope to describe what educational leaders need to be like now. And the three principles that I'm getting ready to introduce tonight, who are our moderators, they are absolutely that, ambassadors of hope for us. So please welcome tonight Jessica Cabine from Austin, Minnesota, Dr. Rachel George from Sandy, Oregon, and Dr. Andy Jacks from Manassas, Virginia. Take it away, you all.
All right, here we go. Thursday night. Super exciting. Ambassadors of hope. Gracie, I don't even know what to say after that. I think you just made my night, week, everything. That is such a great thought about leadership and about, man, I'm just flabbergasted. Thank you. So a few things that NASP is going on right now. They have a lot of things going on. One of them is leadership lessons with the Center for Innovative Leadership. Make sure you check out this week's lesson with Kevin Armstrong. He is the man. He's awesome. And he's talking about Youth Court, which is a really interesting spin on having students own the discipline process, sort of like a club, but the students have like a tiered system for discipline, and they actually do discipline with that. So it's a pretty powerful, very tangible takeaway that you can use. But also a little plug, because Ryan, who's speaking tonight, also has a video. So once you watch this, then go watch Ryan's, because Ryan did a fantastic job with us. She's so smart. And I know she'll be doing a great job tonight, so make sure you check those things out. And before we move on to the next slide, one thing that's not on the slide is, all right, the new Principal magazine. There we go, the new Principal magazine. It's coming out. It's out there. There's a poster in the middle. You got a bunch of, look at these super smart, look at these people. They got all these smart ladies talking about women leadership, all these panelists. This stuff is good. This is really good work. So I was happy to be part of editing at this time. And make sure you check out this Principal magazine.
I love it. And you know, Andy, I happen to really love your picture in there along with Hamish. You guys have some really good like poses going on, man, like tough guy. So some of the other awesome things we have going on here with NAESP is You Ask, We Answer. It's an opportunity for superintendents and principals. It's a partnership with AASA to ask questions about things going on, and they get to answer it live. So talk about really good service right there. You can go to the next slide. And we also have leading virtual communities. We're talking about reopening and renewing your school community during COVID-19. So definitely check that out. And they are being recorded, and you can find that on our website, NAESP, under COVID-19 resources. And we're excited you're here today. Jessica, do you want to talk about the grounding? Why? You're always so good at that.
Oh, geez. All right. Absolutely. So, I mean, this is just, I'm still in awe of Gracie's introduction. Like, just super humbled. I can't even, if I could introduce you to my boss later, if you could say that again, that'd be awesome. But anyway, what we'd like to really talk about is, and actually you in the chat and you in the webinars that are watching this afterwards, is thank you for participating. Thanks for engaging. Sharing information on social media, giving us feedback, because again, this is a real-time response to meet the members' needs. And so because of you is why we're here, and why we're so excited to have Ryan here tonight too. We're going to be continuing to drive these from membership and context of leading. And then also it's important to know that afterwards, because you registered, we will be sending you a link for the webinar, list of participants, and then also additional resources that we've gained throughout tonight's conversation. Winners from last week. You ready, Andy?
I'm ready. So, you know, we had talked about this because the winners sort of like present themselves usually pretty quickly. So if you want to win the challenge, you got to get right out there. So first winner, Mina Blasey, Principal Blasey. She got really into this, and I could tell that it resonated with her. Todd did such a great job, especially sharing about, you know, representation in books. And she was all over this too. So sharing books, sharing what books are important to her, what she's reading. Also, Michelle Ogden, thank you for sharing you got these picks, these spirit counters with these books every day, and you sharing your books with your school. And that's a big thing to think about as a leader. Not just are you doing read alouds. And that was something that really resonated with me as well with Todd last week, is you have to be very mindful of the books that you choose to read to your students and to your staff. And as a leader, you can really set the tone on what kind of books that you're going to choose for your school. So congratulations, Mia. Congratulations, Michelle. You are this week's winner. Let's hear from everybody. Woo, woo, woo. And Todd is sending stuff your way. So congratulations.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, get a pen, get a piece of paper, and write down at Hey Dr. Daniel. Write that Twitter handle down and immediately follow Ryan Daniel. Dr. Ryan Daniel is a fantastic leader, an elementary principal in Maryland. She's a member of the COVID-19 task force through NAESP. Andy already let you know that she's done a video with the Center for Innovative Leadership. She is not up and coming. She is here. She is here. She is a fantastic role model in leading in schools and in life. And it's been an absolute honor to get to know her, follow her on social media. And again, hey, Dr. Daniel, you will not regret it. If you even think you're going to regret it, I will pay you in spam. You'll be like, nope, you were right. She's incredible. So in the topic tonight, I think all of us, if you've been in this season of distance learning, you know our parents are not only our children's first teachers, they're their teachers right now. And their buy-in and engagement and support is going to help our kids be successful. And Ryan's going to have a great wealth of knowledge, ideas, and things for you to take back and apply. So it's going to be amazing. So Ryan, go ahead.
I feel like I've been playing double dutch, just kind of waiting to get in. It's my turn. Hi, everyone. So I am super excited to be here. I am a high energy person. If you know anything about Gallup Strength Finders, you know the woo, that is me all the way. So we're going to have so much fun today. I hope that you are excited. I want to shout out to everyone that I see in the chat. I'm trying not to go over there and party with you, but I'm just excited to be here. So in your space, your new office, I want to hear you say, oh yeah, if you're ready for today. Oh yeah. See, again, we're going to have fun tonight. Look, there's the chat going. All right. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So before we start, I have a first poll. And this poll is called, Whose Mama Is This? Now, the question is, who is your ideal TV school parent? Who is your ideal TV school parent? Is it Claire Huxtable? Is it Marge Simpson, Carol Lambert, Peggy Bundy, Carol Brady, or Lisa Landry? And I try to help you out by giving you the TV show just in case, you know, you haven't had a chance to binge watch anything right now because we're so into our computers. So go ahead. So guys, who's your ideal TV school parent?
Oh, Claire Huxtable.
Yeah.
I fangirled her forever. Just loved her.
See, I'm between like Claire and Lisa. Like I loved Lisa. She was all about her girls.
This is a hard one. I think I'm going to have to go with Carol Brady, the Brady Bunch. That was a classic staple every summer. That and Saved by the Bell. Between the two, done.
Yeah.
I go with Claire Huxtable as well. She could keep that whole family in line. She didn't mess around, you know. And as a mom, you know, that's a big deal. You got to be in charge. Moms are definitely in charge of the household. I know that.
Yep. And you got to think about this one. Let's see what everyone says.
Claire was a favorite. 77% chose Claire. 13% went with Carol from the Brady Bunch, and then we had a 5% Marge Simpson, 3% Lisa Landry, and then tied at 1% Carol and Peggy Bundy.
Wow, so interesting. So wouldn't we love to choose the school parent that comes in our buildings? I mean, I would love it to hand pick all of the parents that come into our building, but unfortunately, we don't have that opportunity. If we can go to the next slide. So today or tonight, whatever time zone you're in, we're going to talk about the real PPE. Okay, we know what PPE is right now because of what we're going through, but parental participation and engagement. Now, before we start talking about that, I have to talk about where this kind of all stems from. So I am a proud Prince George County Public School principal, and I serve a high ELL population, a Title I school, community school, all of the acronyms. And so what is very unique about our school is when I say we are part of the community, we are literally a part of the community. We are housed within the apartment complex. So it's like apartments over here, just all around us. So there is no way that we cannot be in the community, that we cannot tap into our parents. And so for me, family comes first. When I was appointed at Chillum Elementary School, I said that to my community, that family comes first to me. When I met my staff, family comes first. On the right-hand side, you kind of see my family. So I am a girl mom all the way. There's nothing but glitter and tutus and dance parties in my house. And, just keep my husband in your thoughts because he is in the midst of all of that. But it is important for me to share my family with my parents so that they understand how I lead. And so I understand those parents that are juggling multiple children, those parents that are juggling children that are in different schools. And so that is my life. And then my husband is an essential worker. So then I'm also the dual parent, the sole parent, or default parent is the new language I've heard. And so it is important for me to use all of those experiences to lead. And as you are preparing for your parent events, it is really important for you to share your story, your family, with your community, because you get more buy-in that way. And so on the side, you see some members of my staff. When we have events, I encourage them to bring out their families. I have my family with them. There are so many different ways that you can show your staff how much you appreciate them, how much you appreciate their families. One example, the beginning of the school year. We know that is the most difficult time for an educator parent, because we are never able to be there to see our students our child to get on the bus and for the first day of school. So this school year, I tried something different. So for the first day of school, I allowed my staff to leave immediately after the students, because I said, if you weren't able to be there to get them on the bus, I want you to be there when they get off of the bus. And that's powerful right there, because now if I say that I want you to stay after for a parent event and it's late at night, but I don't have no money to pay you, you have more buy-in because I understand your family dynamics. And so you're willing to be there to support our community. And then anything that we do at our school, we pull in the family, because the whole purpose of this topic tonight is to understand that there is a difference between involvement and engagement. And we're going to be talking about that, because yes, they involved. Yes, you have them show up, but did they do anything? Did they gain anything from it? And so at the bottom, we start our school year off with a block party. Again, I use what we are. We are in the community. So I turn the music up really loud, and we get the families to come in, and we're dancing with the families. We're talking with them. We're just starting the school year off in a family environment and atmosphere, so they know what the rest of the school year will be like. So the first thing to increase your parental engagement is to understand and recognize that family comes first. So let's get into it. Parental involvement versus engagement. Screenshot this, save it, write it, tweet it out, whatever you need to do. But we're going to talk about these three things. So doing to versus doing with. So when you think about being a teacher, right? And we always know the saying, whoever's doing the most talking is doing the most learning. That's the same thing with your parents. Are you doing stuff to them? Are you just using your mouth to communicate to them? Or are you doing the things with them, right? So that is the difference between involvement and engagement. Involved, okay? They are coming to the events. They're sitting in your assemblies. They're at your meetings, but are they doing anything? What do they leave out that meeting or that assembly or that atmosphere with you? What do they leave with? And then are you telling versus showing? Like how impactful it is right now that our community is equipped with the skills, because we have embedded opportunities before the pandemic to get them to understand how to do some of the work. So a lot of this transition has been a little bit easier for our community because we've done some hands-on activities with them before. So they understand how to navigate Google Classroom, right? They understand how to navigate some of the textbooks that we have, because instead of just telling them, hey, this is what we're going to be going over this school year, it's like, come in, let's do it. I'm going to sit down with you, and then we're going to engage in this together. So again, telling versus showing. You want to make sure you're showing your community how to help their students, how to help their children, and how to be a homeschool parent, because that's what we all are right now. And then the last one, asking questions or giving directions. Are you talking more than you are listening? Where are you at in the beginning of the school day? Are you in your office? Are you spitting out orders? Or are you at the front door, waving to your community, talking to them? That is my favorite place. This school year, I was on maternity leave. The hardest thing ever, to be away from your building and have someone else lead it. And so the best thing, when I came back, I heard a champion. We are champions. And so I call my students champions all of the time. So I apologize. I'll go back and forth today. But I heard one of my champions say, oh my gosh, we get hugs now. And I was like, they missed me. Yes. And then the parents too, they enjoyed seeing us in the front lobby, because for us at Chillum, we use that as an opportunity to take a pulse on our community, to take a pulse on our parents, to get them to understand, what's going on, if they have any questions. 80% of my building is English language learners. And so I have my parent engagement assistant and my community school coordinator. We're at the front, and we're like high-fiving, hugging. We're doing everything. We're asking them if they're okay, because that helps us know what we need to do for our community. So again, not just saying, don't forget, this is happening tomorrow. Don't forget, turn in the survey. No, asking them questions. Hey, I've noticed that you haven't had an opportunity to complete the survey. Is there any way that do you have 10 minutes? I can take you to the computer lab and we can sit down together and work it out, right? You hear the parents say, I don't know how to access the grades. I don't know how to get on the grade book. By you just saying, go onto the district website, click on this, you're just telling them what to do. You're not showing them. You have to take the time. And a lot of it, that little 10 minutes of your day, I promise you, is going to impact the relationship with your community as you're moving forward. So again, 3 things: doing to versus doing with. And it's not saying, and I'm not saying that the things that we may have been doing is wrong, but again, the whole purpose is to move to more of an engagement of an atmosphere, especially right now when the physical part of our relationship is taken away from us. So right now is the greatest opportunity to change things up a little bit and increase your engagement of your parent participation. Again, making sure that you are showing more than just telling, and not just using your mouth, but listening and leading with your ears, not leading with your mouth, really trying to see what is going on with your community. I'm so trying not to look at the chat over here. I'm like this, putting up a wall as if I don't want someone to see my work.
But speaking of the chat box, Dr. Daniel, we are super curious. We all agree meeting and greeting kids in the morning is just so incredibly vital. But depending on your school structure and your meeting times, or maybe that contract that teachers have with work hours, how do you make sure that you're out front, especially if it's maybe in conflict with like when IEP meetings are going on or your committees? What have you found to be really successful?
So you have to decide on what your non-negotiables are. And so my staff knows that my non-negotiable is between 7:45 and 8 o'clock. I have to be down at the main office, and I will push things to the side. I will tell my boss, who's my secretary, I will tell her, she knows not to schedule me for anything, no parent meeting or anything, because that time is sacred and precious. So you have to figure out what your non-negotiables are. And then again, creating relationships helps with the buy-in. So my teachers do not come on duty until 7:30. Students come in at 7:45. So that's not a long window. But in my community, again, I told you, we are in the community. So I am a 90% walking school. my students are lined up waiting to get in at 7 o'clock, sometimes even earlier. But I have some staff members who come early and they are out there doing crowd control, checking in on students. I have parents that are willing to just kind of stay and hang out there. So it really goes with one, creating what your non-negotiables are, but then two, building relationships with people. So those things of contract and, you know, compliance and those different things like that, they're able to kind of support you with it.
Well, and Ryan, I'm going to add too, just quickly, because so when I was at the kindergarten center, it was 400 kindergartners. We had recess. It was absolutely, you had to be the Walmart greeter, because those parents are dropping their 5-year-olds all off. You're not going to lose them in the woods. Like,
Nope.
you had to be out there. When I transitioned to the middle school, it was very much a drop and go. Like, that was not a parent engagement time. So I flipped and spent my mornings in the halls with the kids for the half hour talking to them.
Yep.
But I love that telling versus showing. I make it, I schedule it with my family that I get to one event a season for all the sporting and extracurriculars. So a play, basketball game, swim, and just sit with parents. And the fact, and like the kids are like, she showed up. I can like show parents how to get on the portal while I'm sitting with them. I can help them answer questions. And if you're wearing sweatshirt and sweatpants and have your hair back, you know, you're real. And you're relatable. And so that's another way to, you know, if the morning time isn't working, you know, finding creative ways to make contacts with parents. And I love that telling versus showing, like just being next to them is so important.
And I think it's something important to also share that I am a single administrator, so I do not have the support of an assistant principal. And so with that being said, you know, you really have to create your structure, your non-negotiables, and be willing to distribute the leadership. So my professional school counselor and one of my instructional lead teachers, they deal with the discipline. If something happens as soon as, you know, the doors open, they deal with it because they know that my post is right there and somebody's hair has to be on fire and maybe the nurse not there for me to move from it.
I gotta interrupt you. I gotta interrupt. You have to say that again, because I think that is such a fundamental, important thing in leadership. Is that as the principal, you're in such a unique leadership position that you are the boss.
Yes.
Like someone reminded me one time because I was like, well, I have to do this or I have to do this. And someone says, are you the boss? Or are you not the boss? I said, yeah, I'm the boss. Then why do you have to do that? Do what you want to do if you think it's important. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Is you're setting that tone and you're pushing everything aside. And the more you do that, the more people realize what you value, right? So kudos. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so now let's get into some activities. So what is the purpose of the majority of your parent activities? Here's our second poll. Is it to share information, soliciting support, equipping parents with resources, showing how to access district or school tools, or providing hands-on activities to support at home? So while our participants complete the poll, guys, what about you? What is your purpose? Maybe pre-COVID and then even now.
I would say at the middle school, it's equipping parents with resources. We're continually trying to figure out how to support students with technology, how to help them regulate, how to support, you know, and how to set some boundaries around that. So that, I mean, for myself too, I'm learning. So I think that's been helpful. That's a really big piece for us.
Mine is probably providing hands-on activities to support at home. And that's been a big shift over the last 6 years at the elementary level. Coming from the middle, I think it was a lot of telling and not a lot of equipping with resources. It was just at. And so we've really focused on engaging families where they're doing things hands-on and it's connected back to what they're doing in the classroom and extending those opportunities. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm going with the crowd on this one. The chat's blowing up. They're saying that there's some answers that aren't on the list.
That aren't on the list, yep.
Yeah. And one of them is engaging people together, having an experience, interacting with parents, and that's where I'm going too. I think that idea of engagement, I don't care about anything else. That's my number one thing.
Love it.
All right, well, looks like we do have a tie for equipping parents with resources and providing hands-on activities to support at home at 32% each. Sharing information at 27, soliciting support and showing how to access district, school, and tools. And hey, Tanya Jefferson, or Tanya, I hope I said it right, is just asking a quick question. How many students attend your school and number of teachers?
So I have 392 champions and instructional staff of 32, and then total of 63.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to some activities, some resources. Whoa, pump your brakes. Because before we even talk about the activities, before we even talk about resources, you need to know that there are going to be some things that hinder you. And it's important to recognize what these are, because planning for parent engagement activities, it is a lot. It can be draining. It takes a lot of energy. So you got to pump your brakes a little bit, because sometimes we go, right? The thing I talked about in the beginning, I said the Gallup Strength Finders, I'm a woo, but my number one is futuristic. I am always in the clouds. I'm like, we can get to the moon, guys, come on. And they're like, Dr. D, I need you to slow down a little bit. We got to figure out how we're going to get there, what we're going to take, who we're taking with us, because I'm also a North. So I am just always going. And so it's important to realize and recognize what your obstacles may be, so that you can prepare for those. So the biggest obstacle for my school is the language barriers. Again, I talked about the demographics of my school right now, and knowing what my language barriers are helps me prepare for the activity or for the hands-on learning experience. For example, right now we are virtual. So I am doing virtual parent meetings. Well, my parent engagement assistant, who is bilingual, she and I meet and practice before. So we got the science and the flow down of I talk, she talks, I talk, she talks, right? And so we know that, but we also make sure that the PowerPoint that I am presenting from is also translated as well. So that way parents can follow along, can read along as well. You also need to know the self-confidence of your parents. They look to us as, you know what you're doing, whatever you say goes. And that's not it, because there's something that they know that we don't, and it's their child, right? And so that piece is really important. So you have to understand and recognize that parents' self-confidence, or the self-confidence of parents, is something that you have to prepare for. So yes, you have this elaborate activity that you want to do, but then you got to think about, okay, why aren't they engaging? Why aren't they excited about this? It's because of their confidence. They're not where you are. So something simple that we've changed in our building a couple of times is how we present at IEP and SIT meetings, where we're talking about students, because it is intimidating for a parent to come in there and everyone around the table, they just typing on their laptop. They're just going. And then you're asking them, so tell me about your child. And they're like, you just go ahead. You just tell me what I need to say. That's it. So, we put it down. I show up with a pencil and paper, and I'm just listening, and I'm capturing things. I'm asking them questions, because the self-confidence of parents is something that you have to prepare for, because that can be an obstacle when planning for engagement activities for parents. You also got to think about schedules. We have parents that work overnight, right? So maybe them coming to a 6:00 evening activity is not the best thing. Maybe you need to do a second cup of coffee in the morning and chat with them on the go, or maybe you sacrifice a little bit of time. You know that they're going to be outside as they're dropping their students off. You're having a conversation, you're giving them something, you're planning something for them. So recognizing when parents' schedules and preparing for that. Right now, with our pandemic, I have done parent meetings at 6:00. I have done them at 10:00. I have done them at noon, giving people different ranges and whatever really works for them. So you have to recognize what the schedule is, and then you also have to take into account of your demographics. Do you have a very affluent population of students, right? So that means that your community may be able to access things a little bit differently than if you are in a Title I school, a school that has a low socioeconomic status, whatever your demographics are. Do you have a high Latino population? Do you have a high African American population? Do you have a high Asian population? You have to think and consider all of your demographics when you're planning for your activities. And you have to plan as if everyone from that demographic group or subgroup is going to attend. So you have to think about everyone, not who you feel is going to attend, but really taking into consideration everyone that your building serves. And then last, buy-in. They're not coming if they don't buy into your vision. If their child has not said that, oh, Principal Joe, he's bouncing off the walls, he's so excited. If they're not going home to talk about you, you may not have a lot of buy-in. I'm sorry, that's the secret if no one has told you. All right, so you have to get the buy-in from the parents, because once you got the parents on your side, then the champion or the student comes in and like, wait, oh, y'all are in this together? And so it's really important to get the buy-in. So again, got to pump your brakes, and you have to recognize what some obstacles may be. So before we go on, Andy or Jessica, Rachel, have you seen any other maybe obstacles that I may not have thought of here?
I think one, and it's coming up a little bit in the chat too, is just thinking about that Title I funding piece too for some schools, or if you're new into that, just making sure you're following the guidelines for the funding and support for family engagement with the Title I dollars is financially, that's kind of always been a barrier with planning activities and making sure that they're following certain guidelines.
Sheila brought up a point in the chat box, and it's one that we've struggled with as well, as transportation. When the kids are there, it's a lot easier to do our stuff, but to get the families, just because they lack it and they don't have it available, it's a struggle. We've done activity buses to run to the different locations to pick families up or kids, even when it came to conferences and different things. But that's definitely something you have to consider. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think they if they like you, they'll come. There's an element of parents, just like all of us, have so much baggage with their own experience in school, and it goes back to your piece about self-confidence, and they may not have liked school or had a good experience, and if you can sell them on you may be the only person, their teacher or you, or even if they like one person, if they feel like they have one friend when they get there, they're more likely to come. So I think it's so critical that we are that friend if no one else can be. So that removes that sense of barrier, and they'll come just for you.
Absolutely. And I always tell my families that when I'm thinking of, and I sometimes my staff or certain people in my staff, we go back and forth because they're like, no, everything doesn't have to be engaging. Sometimes they just need to get information. And I tell them, I don't want to sit in my kids' school just getting information. After I just went to work all day, and then you just want me to sit and it's just like the dry eye commercial. It's just warm and it's going and it's just going. So just really, as you're planning your parent engagement activities, you want to put yourself in that seat. Am I going like this? Do I think this is beneficial? Am I getting anything from this? Am I bored? Because I'm telling you, if you're bored, then your families are going to be, and then that's not going to increase the engagement. Remember, that's the whole purpose. We're increasing engagement. All right, so now let's get into the fun stuff. So how do we move from involvement to engagement? Now listen, I got a doctorate, but that's it, okay? I'm not the expert on this. This is just what works for Chillum Elementary School. This is what works for Dr. Daniel. So by all means, okay, these are just suggestions, but a lot of these are things that we typically do, okay? Coffee with the principal. We all do those, right? Some form of coffee with the principal. Come talk to me, come sit down, grab your cup of coffee, take this donut, okay? But what is the purpose of your coffee with the principal? Are you just giving them information that you can post on the website or post on Class Dojo or send out in a flyer? You got them there. Even if it's 5 people. Listen, I give the same energy to a room full of 5 and a room full of 50, okay? So you want to make sure whoever shows up that you make it meaningful, but you have to be intentional about it as well. So coffee with the principal, yes, they're involved. Yes, they have showed up, but making it engaging, having them do make and take sessions. I have a few pictures that are going to come up later, but one of the Coffee with the Principals that I did is I put out sight words and vocabulary words for every grade level. I serve pre-K through 5th. And so I printed out vocabulary words and sight words, commonly used words for each of the grade level. Not knowing, because I never do a survey or a permission slip to see how many people are coming. I'm prepared for all 395 or 5 people coming in, right? So I had everything there, and what I did, I gave them flashcards, I gave them some markers, and we played some music, and they made flashcards of sight words for their champion. That's simple, right? It's nothing that's mind-blowing. It's just, again, making that moment engaging. So now instead of just saying, hey, these are the words that your first grader needs to know, so I want you to take it and I want you to practice with it. It's going into the backseat of their car or pushed into their purse when they leave the building. But if you equip them with something to take, right, just like we do with teachers, or just like when we go to PDs, any PD that has us engaging and creating something, we're more apt to use it. And so we have done make and take sessions for vocabulary cards. We have done making board games together. We have played actual games. One time we did, it was focused on math, and I said, okay, let's play tic-tac-toe. And they were like, I don't understand what is this teaching me? I'm like, you don't even understand all of the lessons that are in playing a game. And so just hearing parents send messages or send pictures and say, hey, Dr. Daniel, look, we did this at home, and he didn't even know he was practicing his multiplication facts. I'm like, that's the whole purpose. So again, moving from involvement to engagement. Parent surveys. We know them, you love them, or you hate them. Some of them are 2 questions, some of them are 2 pages. But how impactful and how much better is the voice of the parent when you do parent focus groups? So I did parent focus groups, and I had my African American parents, I had a few of my Latino families, I had a few of my more affluent families, I had some that lived in this apartment complex, some that walked, the 10 that took the bus. And that helped me figure out what our needs were of the building, because a survey just has them clicking things and it doesn't really tell me anything. So I did the parent surveys, but then from the parent surveys, then I asked for participants to be a part of the focus group, and I made it volunteer, right? I made it volunteer, but because I've created buy-in, because I've built relationships, they're like, yes, just let me know which time, this time works for me. And those conversations make you more personable, right? It helps you be from being this, oh, that's the principal, that's the doctora, to, oh, like, this is Dr. Daniel, like, she understands what we're going through right here. So parent focus groups really help increase engagement because you're able to listen to the voice of the families. This is one of my favorites, moving from parent-teacher conferences to increasing the student ownership by having the students present their work, having students present what their data is. And some people are like, this can't happen at the elementary school. Yes, it can. And when we get out of that mindset or change the mindset of, we have to be these helicopter schools, like we got to walk everybody through that, then your community kind of stays there. And I'm sure that everyone in these past 2 months have had to be innovative in more ways than you want it to be. You have stepped out of your comfort zone in some way. And so how awesome would it be to sit in a parent-teacher conference and my child is presenting their data to me, and the teacher is just co-signing. Is just there kind of being a facilitator, but the student is really there presenting and saying, hey, mom, this is where I've been struggling. This is, where I have been doing very well in, see my grades. And so again, moving from engagement now to engagement, because now parents are a part of the conversation. Again, I'm like this because you all are laughing and looking at the chat. I'm like, I can't go over there.
Jay wants some TikTok lessons from Glenn, which is hilarious. And
oh yeah, Glenn, you got to see Glenn's TikToks.
Yeah, so tag us. But there was a great question that came up in the chat. So like muffins with mom, bagels with dad, kind of those different events, donuts with dads, I guess, so the DD matches. What are your thoughts? How can you make that engaging? I'm sure you have some good thoughts on that.
So have them do something. So the first year of, this is only my third year at Chillum. My first year, you do the first year, you sit on your hands and you don't change much. You just kind of go with the flow. And so I allowed the team to do what they wanted to do. They wanted somebody to come present. They wanted them to talk about being a mom and this. And I'm sitting there like, I don't want to hear this. I know they don't want to hear this. So, and then we had the numbers, but they were talking. Kids were rolling on the floor. It just was, again, they were there, but they weren't mentally and physically. They were physically there, but mentally they weren't invested. But then the second year we did something. And so we did a sip and paint, right? And so they had the mom and the champion created a painting together. And the same thing with our Donuts for Dad. We did a Dad Olympics. And they were doing games, and it was dad against kids, and it was this family against that family. And so you still have that concept of celebrating the parent, for muffins for mom, donuts for dad. I don't know what we call the grandparents. Grandma and granddad come, but make it engaging by doing some activities, because again, they're there not to watch the students do stuff, but they want to do it with them. So really trying to make those things engaging and getting them to do something together. The last two are something that we have embedded into what we do as parent academies, and I'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide. But content presentations and testing presentations, make those hands-on, right? So if you're telling them that this is what's happening in math, do an activity with the parent during that presentation so they understand the new math, right? Air quotes there, the new math. All right, and then testing presentations. Yes, they know that we're going to take PARCC or whatever your state testing is, but why not give them the standards, show them what it means, and then give them an activity that they can do at home. So at Chillum, this is what PPE is for us. Like, look how happy my families are. Like, they are engaged. I miss them so much. Just a little plug there. I really miss them. But, we start off the year with the block party. We do family nights. So we alternate. Every other month is either a family night or a parent academy. So here's how it works. The parent academy equips them with the skills that they need, right? So they go to a university. They come out and they get a degree from the Champion Parent Academy. We equip them with the skills. We teach them. We provide childcare, and so that they can fully be invested in the activities, in the learning. And then we do a family night, and then now we play. We have fun. We do the activities. And if I see parents kind of sitting back and they're watching their student, I'm like, no, mom, go over there with them. I don't let anybody kind of stay and hang back. And I let them know, I stay at the front door. That's my thing. I stay at the front door. And if they come drop, because remember, I'm a walking school. If they come drop their champion off, I'm like, are you parking the car? Come on. Because they have to be there. They can't just drop the student off. So our family nights and parent academies, we get high participation. Sometimes I feed them, sometimes I don't, and they still come. So you don't always have to feed them for them to come. You just have to get the buy-in and make it engaging. And so in the picture where my dad, he's holding up his multiplication facts, we were doing place values and multiplication. It was a competition. And I think my competitive spirit has just flowed down to my community, because if you think that your students are competitive, pair them up parent against parent. Oh, it's like it's a showdown then. In the next picture, you see the parents in a coffee with the principal doing the sight words flashcards. And then there's a few other activities where they're actually engaging in it. So not just giving them the resources, but actually allowing them that moment to interact with it, to complete it, so that it's easier for them as they transition out of your building that day. We do lunch with my champion every Wednesday. I allow parents to come in and they can sit in the cafeteria with their student and enjoy lunch with them. And so they know the Wednesday that it happens. Some months I'll do it every Wednesday. Some months I just do it the second Wednesday. But we have it on our monthly calendar. So parents, they will take off. They will go in late, take a longer lunch. But they really enjoy that opportunity to just sit with their student. And they don't go anywhere but in the cafeteria. And I really push for them to know their students' lunchtime. To, if they come in late, I'm like, I'm sorry, their lunch was at 11:15. They are in class right now. However, you can come back at the next lunch with my champion. We offer English classes for our families. And then we have a Helping Families Help Students, where we, again, equip them more so for our ESOL families, equip them with the skills that they need to help their students, because a lot of our parents don't speak English at home. So they really want to know how they can support their student. And so we have a lot of staff members that willingly, help with these activities, English classes, and helping families help students. All right, so supporting a homeschool parent. As we wrap up, right now we are in something that there was no class on this, there was no book about this, your internship had nothing to do with this. They didn't cover this in principal school, okay? So how do we support the homeschool parent while also being homeschool parents ourselves for a lot of us? So you have to strategically communicate, but you have to find the happy medium. My staff knows that if I see a lot of messages on Class Dojo, I'm swiping and I'm deleting them, and I'm calling them like, hey, I need you to post that maybe tomorrow, because it's a lot of information already there now. And I want to make sure that we are not over communicating, right? We are bombarding them with all of these resources that they don't have time to digest it. Acknowledge that the new normal is not easy. Share your personal challenges. Be relatable. It helps for my parents to know that I am struggling with homeschooling as well. For example, this morning we had a parent meeting, and my 6-month-old had a huge blowout, and she's 6 months. So she is happy. She's kicking. Stuff is flying everywhere. And I'm like, so we will be closing, and I need you all to make sure that you're champion. And I'm trying to show face and not turn my camera off, because I want to turn my camera off. But you have to be relatable. And I'm apologizing. I am giving myself some grace. Jessica, little plug right there. I'm leading with grace, and I'm letting them know that I'm struggling too, and it is going to be okay. Engage the whole family. Offer activities for everyone. As you see, we had a Mommy and Me cooking challenge on the week of Mother's Day, and that was awesome. The parents sent me pictures, and I put it together, and they enjoyed it because we did our muffins for Mom virtually. And we created something together. We worked out. And you have to also be realistic and realize what's important right now. Okay, is academics important right now? We want it to be, but unfortunately, we know all of our communities, it's not, right? So we have to make sure that we are tapping into the mental health, that social, emotional health of our families, our parents, and again, doing things that they can do together because they're home, they're getting antsy, they want to get out, their child wants to get out, everyone wants to go back to normal, and no one knows how to navigate through this new normal. So it's really important that you understand, as we're supporting the homeschool parent, that you have to strategically communicate, acknowledge that it is not easy, engage everyone that is in the house, including the auntie or the uncle that's there, and a new baby or the middle schooler, right? I'm in the background in Zooms, and I'm scrolling. I'm like, tell your brother to come over. Tell him to come over. Like, okay, or the students will chat, like, my mom is asleep. Do you want me to wake? I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that, right? So you have to really make sure you're engaging everyone, but also being realistic. These are one big thing that I have done. We are ending our first ever Parent Appreciation Week, right? Because we celebrated the teachers last week, but remember, we got some new teachers in the building. Your parents, they are homeschool teachers right now. So this week has been our Parent Appreciation Week. And when I tell you that parents have just just really appreciated somebody saying thank you to them, or, sending them a positive message. And so every day I challenge my staff to do something. And what I do as the leader is that I model it, right? So I post whatever it is that we needed to do on our class dojo, on our website, so they know that I am doing the same thing that I am asking for them to do, right? It is important to empower your parents right now. Encouragement matters. I am thanking them. I am acknowledging that this is difficult. And I'm saying, you're doing good. When they're saying, I don't know how to navigate it, I said, it's fine. Go ahead and log into my Zoom session. We'll do a one-on-one. I can walk you through it, because they need that encouragement, and you can't stop. Right now, we're probably slowing down, right? Because, it was fun in the beginning. Now it's like, another Zoom. But you have to keep that encouragement and that energy. It has to be high. You got to listen to your parents. We have a parent series, and I make sure that I'm listening to them. I'm asking, okay, how was this last 2 weeks of distance learning? Is there anything that we can improve on? Go ahead and type it into the chat. And I'm very vulnerable. I let them do it publicly, because what's the point of hiding it? They're talking about it somewhere. So go ahead and let me see it. And then we're acknowledging that. Again, avoiding resource overload and relationships are very key right now. So be vigilant and be supportive, because this new normal is nothing that anyone has experienced, and they need your support as they navigate through it. So let's go to your challenge for the week. I want you to first make sure you're following me. I'm at Hey Dr. Daniel at Twitter and Instagram. You can also email me at ryan.daniel. There is no S on my name. ryan.daniel@pgcps.org. And so here's your challenge for the week. Next slide. I want you to engage with your parents this week. I'm making it like right now. You got to do it this week in some form, and you have to share it with us. And see, Andy already told y'all the secret, okay? You do it early, like share it out early. So if you did something today, if you have something planned tomorrow, go ahead, post it. Shh, don't tell everybody, okay? But again, engage with your parents this week and share it with us. Tag the crew so that you can get spotlight next Thursday. And again, guys, it's not difficult. You just have to be relatable, get that buy-in, and understand that things are difficult right now. And they just want to hear that they can do this, that you support them, and that you understand what's going on. Whew, I think I'm done.
You did it.
Nice job, Dr. Daniel.
Thank you.
Woo. That was awesome. Such great insight. And I know one other thing too that came up as a question, the Parent Academy logistics and topics. We'll talk to Ryan and see if we can't figure out to get some of that information from her school.
Absolutely.
Put that in the resource document too.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
I still can't get past the Code Brown story. We call that Code Brown when you had a diaper explosion.
I was like,
Code Brown.
And then the 4-year-old came and she said, "Did she poop?" I'm like, shh, shh, shh.
That's just real. That's real right there.
Real life right now.
Oh yeah, that's great. Well, you killed it. You did an awesome job in the chat.
Thank you all so much for this opportunity. Love this platform.
We know, and parent engagement is important any day of the week, but now it's like a whole nother level of need that goes on. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you again. This was fantastic. Everybody for being here tonight. Thank you. I know May is hard, even without a pandemic. May is hard, and the fact that you're still awake and engaging and having fun on a Thursday night when we all could be napping shows just the true commitment you have to your work, to your communities, and to those you serve. So Andy and Rachel, and Gracie, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for coming, showing up, and just continuing this journey. We're super, super honored to be a part of this with you. So I'm going to introduce the next week's guest. You ready for this one?
Go for it. I think this deserves a drum roll. Do you want me? I'll do a drum roll. I do it online all the time.
There he is.
One and only.
And welcome. You don't know him. Kids deserve it. Run like a pirate. Teachers deserve it. what was the other? With Lynn Cole.
Empowering our girls.
Empowering our girls. I'm gonna tell you this, boys and girls. It's very rare you get me to run a marathon, but I ran a marathon with that man, a legit 26.2 miles. He actually ran it twice. He ran it that night, turned around and ran it with me again. I got the second 26 miles with Adam so I could pace with him. But he's a wealth of knowledge and resources. And next week's topic is really going to be essential as we move into the summer months. This is rough. I don't know about you two, but I think like there's peaks in COVID and peaks with teachers, and the principal peak, we haven't hit it yet. And so it's going to be really important that we are connecting with each other in this season. And so Adam's going to give us some great ideas, some great tips, and some ways that we can stay connected even outside of the season, and just kind of staying connected over the summer more remotely. I mean, I think we can just share the news at our conference. We can't even see each other in person. I was so excited to see Ryan and like give her an elbow or something, like a nod.
Something.
So we need to stay connected now more than ever. And next week, Adam's going to give us some great tools to help support that.
Yeah, and stay tuned because NESP has more things coming out too, more social groups, and there's these big sort of webinar series, but there's also ideas about getting smaller social groups together and just finding the support that resonates with you and that is meaningful for you. And each person has their different sets of needs out there. And I tell you what, I think you guys are right. It's getting old after a while. We need help.
Yep. Oh yeah. So we'll see everybody next week. Same time, same place. And Ryan, thank you again. It was fantastic.
Thank you, everyone.
Good day.
Next week.
Everybody.
Bye.